Hello everyone, it's Ethis and welcome to another video. In the last one, I spoke on all the Grand Theft Auto leaks that I could find, and I said I'd make a part 2 showcasing all the leaks for other series that Rockstar had. Well, the time has come and that's what we're doing today. Obviously, with older content, it can be quite hard to track down all the sources and information, and if anything in this video is wrong, I truly do apologize. But if you know anything, please leave it in the comments below, and I'll pin it and make a new video showcasing all the information I got wrong with corrections, with credit to you of course. Thank you all so much for the positive reception on the last video, by the way. It really means the world. Now let's just jump right into it. Manhunt 2. The Manhunt franchise is a famously controversial one-off series set in the same universe as the 3D GTA games. Upon launch of the original Manhunt in 2004, the game was banned in several countries for its excessive gore and dark tone. It was later censored to be released to a wider audience, and the same thing would happen to the sequel just a few years later in 2007. 2 months before the final release, a disgruntled employee of Sony's European division would leak the entire game early. But this wasn't the version that was toned down to get a lesser rating, this was the full and most infamous uncensored build of Manhunt 2. Not only was the entire uncensored game leaked, you can still find the files of this floating around on the internet to this day. I wanted to get footage of it myself using the PC XS2 emulator, but I couldn't get it to run properly, and I don't have a hacked PS2 to load the file properly. However, I have some screenshots and footage that I'll pop up on the screen and in the background so you can see some of the changes that took place. Obviously, this game is gory as hell, so I can't show you everything without this video getting completely age restricted, but I do have some screenshots showcasing the difference in the executions for the leaked build and the final build. This build is 4 months behind from the actual release, so obviously Rockstar didn't have time to completely change the game from the ground up, so you can see what type of tactics they used to self-censor to get this thing out and shipped. The first thing you always notice when booting up a Rockstar game is the startup sequence. It always shows the iconic logo and an animation that relates to the story or aesthetic of the game you're playing. The leaked build has some slight differences than a final build. I'll play them both side by side now. Personally, I prefer the final build, but what about you? Next, we have the legal information screen. The leaked build shows the logo for the game that we can only see on the box art. It doesn't appear in the final, and we can see that they changed the font sizing and colors in the final release as well. Next is the title screen. In the leaked build, it's completely void of color except for the logo on the top right. The title's theme is also different than the final build, and it seems like it could have been an alternative theme from Manhunt 1. Personally, I like the early title screen a little bit better. I'm a huge fan of the Saw movies, and this just gives me that huge Jigsaw energy. A small change that I barely noticed was the brightness slider. In the early build, it was called brightness, and in the final, it was called setup. The description is also a bit different, but other than that, it's completely the same. You can replay missions in these games, and the mission select screen went through an entire facelift. In the leaked build, the missions are spaced far apart from each other, and we can see that they would have originally had ratings similar to the first Manhunt game. In the final build, these ratings were taken out, and it overall made the mission select screen a whole lot more aesthetically pleasing in my opinion. The pause screen is also different, with the background being completely blank originally. I like the early build, and I wish they would have stuck with it personally. The mission completion screen also changed, as originally it would show you the criteria you made to get your final level rating, but with that being removed, the stats were also canned. Now onto what is the biggest change, and the one that most people actually cared about: the censorship with gore and executions. As I stated earlier, I don't want this video to get flagged, but I'll try my best to keep it up. Huge thank you to Intruder for gathering this footage, as I couldn't get my copy to work. Now here's a showcase of the executions with and without censorship.
Told him to.
As you can see, it's a pretty big difference. With mass amounts of effects thrown on to disorientate you and hide the good stuff, if this footage couldn't properly explain it, look at this screenshot showing you the main sensors. Now, as much as I'd love to gush and explain all the differences of the leaked censored and uncensored version, I simply can't because this video would be too long. If you want to see a full comprehensive list of every single change, the Manhunt wiki has compiled all of them into a comprehensive guide with showcases. Now, let's move on to a different game that's just as controversial as Manhunt, but there's practically no information surrounding it unless you dig deep. Agent. Possibly one of the biggest what-ifs in gaming history. Agent is a famous cancelled game from Rockstar. It was supposed to be set during the Cold War in the 1970s and would see you as a secret agent doing counterintelligence, espionage, and assassinations. Originally teased in 2007 and officially announced in 2009, the game's trademark would continually get renewed until 2017 and was finally abandoned in November of 2018. For years, the only thing we knew about this game was the logo until some artwork of the game had been published by an artist for his portfolio. We have several leaked pieces of concept art, and that was it until the source code leak for GTA 5 happened on Christmas Eve of 2023. With this major leak, we'd get tons of new screenshots for the game showcasing some of the levels. They give me some major Splinter Cell Blacklist and Max Payne 3 vibes. We'd also get a full overview of the map, and obviously this game wasn't fully completed, so who's to say how much more content would have been added. But even so, as unfinished as this game was, it looked absolutely huge, and I really wish we had some more information on it. And here's some compiled in-game screenshots. As you can see, it's using the GTA 4 radial minimap, which Rockstar loved to use when building future games. We can see the same thing in leaked GTA 5 beta content. This game is as mythical as a unicorn, and even with leaks, information is scarce, and as this is a video trying to primarily showcase leaks and not speculate, this is a really short section. Now let's ride off into the sunset for our next game. Red Dead Redemption 2. This game needs absolutely no introduction, and if you haven't played it, I need you to go do that right now. Officially announced in October of 2016, some say they knew even earlier due to leaks. In October of 2013, Kotaku reported that Rockstar was working on the next version of a famous IP. Obviously, with the only game coming out between the time of the article and now was Red Dead Redemption 2, so it makes many believe that that's what they were hinting at. 2 years later, in November of 2015, a former Rockstar employee would tease Red Dead 2 in a Reddit AMA with just 4 simple words. Really, dumbass? Really? 2? Now, obviously that makes me sound incredibly rude, but just look at the first letter of each word in that sentence. Sadly, the subreddit was banned, so I can't show you the official post, but you can see an article written by Attack of the Fanboy talking about it. Fast forward 5 months later, and we have the first actual leak relating directly to showcasing the game itself. On April 13th, 2016, the entire map was leaked, and to the surprise of many, it was 100% real. It's really interesting to see some of the slight differences between the beta map and the final map. Then, just a month later on May 29th, we'd get a leaked screenshot after an artist accidentally set the photo public. At first, people thought it was fake until Rockstar asked the artist to remove the screenshot and speculations began to rise. As you can see in the early screenshot, it's where Black Belle camps out during the story, and while they aren't completely identical, there's enough there to assume. But while all of this was going on, we finally got the official trailers for the game. It told us we'd play as an outlaw named Arthur Morgan, and it'd talk about what we do, and this had some of the bells of people ringing, as 2 years prior, someone would leak all of this information. It was swept completely under the rug though, and everyone had forgotten until this moment. Thanks to Professor Guggenheim, the main part of that post is now archived. User Red Dead Insider posted this paragraph that I'll read now. You play as a gang leader named Arthur. The biggest changes made to the game is that you have a posse. If I remember correctly, the story kind of starts when you find out someone in your outlaw gang is a Pinkerton spy. The Pinkertons end up having you on the run throughout most of the game. You acquire lots of members of your gang, such as Abigail, Little Jack, Marston, and others. The core mechanic of the game is having to maintain and continuously move your outlaw camp. When you go on a mission, you will choose who to take with you, similar to Mass Effect or Dragon Age. The game spans 5 zones. A directive they keep getting is to make the environments more interactive like Skyrim, whatever that means. There is a kind of game plus like the last one had. You end up at Beecher's Hope and switch control to John Marston. There are then lots of quests dealing with building up your ranch. You literally will have to do X and Z to build a gazebo. I heard someone designed a minigame where you help a mare give birth, and that had people laughing. The last I heard was a few months ago. The game was kind of stuck in development hell of sorts. Then, team kept remaking a vertical slice demo for the leaders of Rockstar, and they aren't impressed. They didn't find it different enough or innovative enough. Hopefully they got it out of that rut. Obviously, that's not a one-to-one, fully accurate synopsis of the story, but that's about as close as you can get. This leak is 100% confirmed, and there's absolutely no way he was able to guess all that information. Who would have thought that the one time someone calls himself an insider, they'd actually be an insider? Now, let's just jump to 2018. Just a few weeks before the game's release, on October 10th, the game's full achievement list would be leaked and posted to the internet. This was posted because someone was able to get an early copy of the game, and this isn't surprising as this happens to plenty of games. Now, fast forward to October 26th, and the game is officially out and everyone can enjoy it. And while the game itself was an absolute masterpiece, I just want to put my own 2 cents in and say that Take-Two and Rockstar absolutely failed the multiplayer mode, and I'm incredibly disappointed with how it was handled. But hey, that's just my opinion, maybe you think differently. And with all of that being said, that's the last game I'll be covering today. I really hope you enjoyed the video, and I didn't expect to put this out so soon. I'm really sick right now, as you can probably hear, and I had to strain my voice to get this out, but you know how it is, I'm on that YouTube grind. I have plenty of videos similar to this one coming out in the future, and I hope you can stick around and enjoy them. I'm not a Rockstar focused channel, and I will be covering other series and companies. It's been a lot of fun making this video, and I hope to see you in the next one. Ethos out.